Hey guys, Kyle the Death Knight of Enemy here, bringing you my review for My Hero Academia, Chapter 267. So, first things first, the obvious thing is that Tokoyomi has arrived on the scene near the end of the chapter to save Hawks from Dabi. And the thing about this is that it's really getting to a point where we've given all the signs and all the pieces are and everything's falling into place everything's falling into place to the point where we're actually like facing down the inevitable tragedy that Hawks is going to die. And and I almost would say some, and I almost do want to say some inevitable, and I do want to say possibly some long-awaited answers about Dabi, but I think those might come later because that's the other thing too. I've realized is that Horikoshi, he really seems to like pretty much keeping like Dabi and Dabi and Dabi and Endeavor away from each other. Almost like you can definitely tell he's got some. I think he's got some kind of a plan there. It's just a matter of when Dabi and Endeavor have their little encounter, because like at that point you'd have to think it would almost be confirmed, the father and son connection. But for now, like I said, all the pieces are in place in order for Hawks' inevitable death. And but the thing is, even with all these things being set in place, all these things being set in motion, I can't lie. One of the things the problem I'm having with this right now, though, is the follow through. And I can't lie, it's one of those things where I get why Horikoshi keeps building up on the suspense of it. It's in order to set the scene properly, and we essentially done that to near perfection. Like, it's basically a thing of Tokoyami like coming in to save Hawks, and we're basically looking at a situation where Hawks is more than likely going to die in front of Tokoyami. But at the same time, in Horikoshi's efforts to continuously build on the tension and momentum of the moment, it does feel like he's posturing a little bit as well. I don't think it's intentional, but I don't think it's intentional, but it definitely comes across, and I don't know how constantly doing that is going to affect the penultimate moment when it does finally happen. Because make no mistake, with Tokoyami here, I think it's almost confirmed Hawks. Between Tokoyami arriving and the fact that Hawks has practically been burned up as much as he has, I think Hawks is pretty much a dead bird walking at this point. So yeah, it's again, all the build up to it has been fine. It's just a matter of getting to that point where I'm starting to question it a little bit. And on the flip side, and if I can say one positive thing on this particular point, on the particular point of like Hawks dying, is that seeing the flashbacks of Hawks like as a kid, and Hawks as a kid, and going through his early training with the government and asking if he could become a hero like Endeavor. Yeah, that got me pretty good. Just pretty much knowing what's pretty much destined to happen here. Like again, all the pieces are in place. It's just a matter of the follow through right now and how it plays out. Which, considering the setup right now, I think it's more likely going to be a freaking Luke Skywalker Obi-Wan kind of situation, which would work considering the parallels that Horikoshi loves to draw with Star Wars. So yeah. With all that being said, let's talk about Dabi, because we get with this chapter, we get a deeper dive into Dabi's psyche as well as what his beliefs and motives are. And the scary part about what Dabi's talking about what what I can only think of as he's talking about what as he's talking to Hawks is that one thing that's shown well pretty much through Dabi is that he definitely it goes unequivocally without saying that Dabi after this chapter he definitely believes in Stain's ideals. That part is definitely true. But but weirdly enough, unlike Stain, Dabi seems to take it to an even more extremist degree in the sense where with Dabi, he's completely dispassionate about weeding out those who are actually who are worthy of being called heroes and those who aren't. And with him, he seems to believe more in the idea that the world needs to be purged completely, so that those who are truly heroic can be born from its ashes, from basically the ashes of what he wants to burn down. Like he wants to burn the whole thing. He wants to basically burn the whole thing down and basically start from scratch. That's pretty much Dabi's whole thing. So in that sense, again, it's not too again it's kind of it does kind of in some way it really does kind of in some ways align with what Stain wants to do, but again with Stain he wants to do it in weirdly in a little bit more of a selective approach, whereas Davi's approach is much more broad, much more broad, and he just wants to like I want to burn everything down, just start from scratch kind of thing, which honestly. And the even scarier thing is, it's not. And the scary thing is, it's not really hard to see where he's coming from. Like the thing is, any character in this series can talk about what they value and what their values are about being a hero. But the thing is, until the government's hold over hero society breaks, nothing of value is actually going to change, and heroes will never be able to truly act in what they believe. They'll only be servants to the system that the government has created in order to control quirks. And yes, honestly, this even applies to Izuku because the thing is, as heroic for as much development as a lot of class 1A and a lot of the student heroes have gotten, they themselves are still going to be servants to that system. So until that changes, they themselves are just going to be another pack of servants to the system. So it's like until that changes, nothing is legitimately going to be able to change at all. Now, one thing we also got to talk about is that ending where the chapter stops just as Mirko destroys the containment unit, or is about to. And yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I think Mirko was just a split second too late on that, and either next week's chapter or the next couple is where shit is really gonna start hitting the fan with a fully empowered Araki. And like weirdly enough, the only question that needs answering with that particular moment is whether or not that from Shigaraki has got a stabilized control over all those quirks that have been pumped into him, or an unstable control. But in either scenario, like the world's essentially fucked with a fully empowered with a fully empowered madman pretty much Shigaraki. Like you just know that with as many quirks as he has, he's gonna go basically Thanos on this whole world. And yeah, I get a feeling it's gonna be too little too late in there. I get the feeling, again, it's going to be a little too late scenario, but in either case, there's no denying that Marco went out like a champ. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and a list of Crunchyroll. That Night of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.